All right, Anthony on Air podcast. Lots happening in the world, including we now know who the secret Jeffrey Epstein girlfriend was. We've got a person. We'll talk about that coming up. But first, I want to talk about Jake Paul, because his home in Calabasas just moments ago, literally like an hour ago, was raided by the FBI, and it's kind of a huge story. So we'll start with there. Frankie C is here. He is the Logan Paul to my Jake Paul.
I hope that's a good thing.
I don't know. I just know that they're brothers.
Well, we'll see after today. I don't know.
So nobody really knows why. There's one report in that they took a whole bunch of firearms out of his house. Jake Paul, for those who don't know, is just like a YouTuber. He started out on Disney Channel. He was like a kid actor. He did that for a little while. And then, when Vine was a thing, he was one of the huge Vine stars there. And then
I kind of miss Vine.
What's that?
I kind of miss Vine. Vine was fun.
Vine was fun. I feel like TikTok's the new Vine, though. By the way, all the Vine stars are like rising to the top of TikTok right now. They're all like getting their
Not Will
popularity
Sasso.
back. What?
Not Will Sasso. I miss him. He was great on Vine.
Was he? I never really saw him. I was at the tail end of Vine. Vine was one of those things that died quickly. All right. Anyway,
I digress.
This is the scene in swanky Calabasas, which is known for like the Kardashians and all that stuff. Nice upper class, sort of an area, and it's like they got just tanks rolling through. And this is courtesy of TMZ.
For firearms? I mean, for one guy, do they need all this?
Look at this. Look at that truck. Look at those guys hanging off the truck.
And that's one truck. Look, there's another. There's a third.
More guys hanging off the back over there. Look at this.
The third.
This is all just to get a YouTuber.
I mean, is he that big of a danger? Like a threat? I feel like one truck would do it.
I don't even know. It's the craziest thing.
I mean, I don't know what they're looking for. Maybe he's got like a small army in his house.
Honestly, it would for people who are listening on the audio side on the podcast, which we're available on any podcast network. Just search Anthony on Air. We would be able to take over Canada with less equipment than what they're rolling into Jake Paul's house. Like, I mean, it would be easier to take over Canada with what they just had, like 3 vehicles, 6 or 7 army guys hanging off the back of the vehicles. Like, they're all, they got their, guns and everything. They're all ready to go. And this is just like a YouTube guy. Now, I will say he's like one of the bigger YouTube guys. He's not PewDiePie, but he's 20 million
Perhaps
subscribers.
He revealed something on his YouTube channel that was not good. Like maybe he showed like an arsenal of weapons, and even if he does have an arsenal of weapons, he's one guy.
Yeah. In Calabasas. I mean, we don't need.
What are they doing?
If he was a native New Yorker and they were rolling into Brooklyn, I kind of get it, but it's Jake Paul in Calabasas. I feel like.
What are they afraid of? Unless he's got landmines all over his house.
Maybe.
They're gonna be fine.
He might. You never really know. The last thing he got in trouble for, he's gotten in trouble for a couple of things over the course of the years. The last thing he got in trouble.
Was he the guy that did the video in the forest that was in China?
I think that was him. That was either him or his brother. It's hard to keep track. And then they also did something like in Houston with the flooding. It's weird because they've done some really good things too. Like they've done like really charitable, nice things. And then they've done some other things that aren't as smart. The last thing is I think he even got arrested for it. They issued a warrant for him, I believe. He was in Arizona and they were looting a mall and he was in there and he was like filming it all for YouTube. And, the cops were like, hey, we got you on film and you're there, and it doesn't matter if you're not stealing anything, you're still part of the loot. So I think they went after him for that, I believe. The FBI confirmed.
Maybe they're going to get all the stuff that he looted.
You think they're searching for those TVs that were missing off of the Best Buy?
They need a lot of guys to help carry all those TVs out. That's why they have 3 trucks full.
I mean, like you look at that, you see that image, and you're like, what the hell could this guy be doing? Now he is also a prankster, and from what I understand from again TMZ, they're reporting this is not part of a prank. I don't know how they would know that, like if he was like setting something up.
That seems very elaborate. I mean, he's got 3 or 4 Hummers filled with soldiers. I don't know how you pull that together, even if you're Logan Paul.
I know, like what did you do? What did you put on the internet or have in your home or get caught talking about that would trip this wire to have them load up all this stuff and roll on into your house? You know what I mean? Like,
Someone had to drop some kind of tip, because what can you reveal about yourself? And maybe he did a tour of his house and
kind of feels a little
something.
Kind of feels a little bit like kitty porn. Could be the kitty porn. I don't know. I feel like when they rolled into Jared's
again.
I don't like. I feel like I'm becoming the creepy comment guy now. You know, the guy in the comments that it's like he's in the pedal ring too. But I feel like when they rolled into Jared's house, you know, they had the same amount of like. There was a lot of people that were rolling into Jared's house to grab his computer full of kitty porn and haul it out of the house, if you remember.
Again, I mean, even if that is the case, do you need that many people? Maybe you do. I don't know.
You know what? For Jared, no. For Jake Paul, he's kind of a big dude.
I said Logan before. It's Jake, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the same person, basically.
Mr. Paul.
Who cares? Yeah, I mean, he's a boxer. I know that. Like, he did that whole boxing match. That was one of his other latest things, where he fought some other guy on YouTube, I think. And there's been a whole bunch of stuff. He's great at making news. I will say, like, I've seen like a couple of his things. He's entertaining. Like, I don't follow him on any social media, but when he pops up with something that's good, I go, oh, that's good, you know?
Hey, if you're entertaining, that's great. But and you're doing some stuff for charity, that's also great. But I can't wait to see what this is about. I mean,
right? I mean, I'm just so curious as to what the hell this could possibly be.
Again, I mean, WMDs. What has he got in there that they're raiding him?
I don't know. I also know too that he keeps like a big crew around him. Like he's got a lot of people around him at all times. Like that
could be a drug thing.
Could be
anything. We're speculating right now. We don't know.
He loves. Well, that's that's the point of the podcast. Just a little talk, a little chatter.
Saying.
He loves. I was also reading that he's been throwing a ton of parties lately. And not really going by the socially distancing thing. According to ABC here in New York, it says authorities have seized multiple firearms from the home of YouTube star Jake Paul.
That's just now? That's what they were...
Yeah.
You just read that? Okay.
ABC, TMZ doesn't have that yet, but ABC does. That they've pulled out.
I feel like...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like 2-3 officers go knocking on his door. Hey, we're coming in to take your guns. Would probably do it. Again, I don't know. He's one guy. All right, there you go.
All right, so
some big old...
This is
firearms there.
Yeah, this is from ABC. I guess there's helicopters over his house by now. So there's a police officer, and he's got, what would you say? That's at least 3 rifles in his hand. It looks like.
Well, it looks like there's a shotgun in one hand. It looks like there's a gun case in another, and then behind him it looks like an AK of some kind. I am not a gun guy. I don't know much about him.
Yeah,
that's just what I could, from what I could see. That's what my best guess.
Oh yeah, the guy behind. I didn't. You know what? I was looking at the police officer so much I didn't notice the guy. The guy in the black shirt behind him. That looks like an AK.
So I don't know. I mean, it looks like he's got a piece of paper in his other hand. Maybe that's some kind of warrant. I don't know. But if that's what they got him before with guns, and now he's got more. Is that?
No, I don't think he's ever. I don't remember there being like a gun issue with the guy at any point.
Isn't that what you said before? They raided him for guns, or was that his brother?
They raided him with guns. So I was saying they all the guys who.
I thought they raided his house because he had a buttload of guns.
No. I mean,
okay, well that seems to be what's going on right now.
The weird thing, I mean, it's not illegal to own guns though. Like that's the thing. Like does like
I don't know what California law says. Maybe there's an amount.
maybe, yeah, maybe because here's the weird thing too, and this is the thing with this guy because he films like every part of his life basically. Everything that he does is on YouTube. Similarly to the way he was kind of caught up in Arizona, maybe he was running around filming some stuff, and people saw he had a gun in the corner of the room, and that spawned like somebody to like rat him out or whatever, and now there's like they raid his house up. All right, we lost Frankie C's connection here. We'll try and get him back up and running. But yeah, this literally just happened just before we were about to start the show here. So Jake Paul, and we haven't seen him. They also don't know if he's even there. We know that the FBI served a search warrant for him in his Calabasas home, and ABC is beat out. Here's another shot of a gun. Oh, look at this. Okay, this is it's a pretty serious gun right here. This is a pretty big one right here. Okay, this is, I guess, a helicopter view again, and look at the size of that gun that is leaning up against his hot tub in the Calabasas home. That's a gun. Now again, I'm not a gun guy. I heard Frank say he's not a gun guy. I'm not an expert. I don't know if that's not a gun that you're allowed to have. I don't know if even if you have a permit, can you just leave it leaning up against the back of the hot tub like that? Like, is that like I think you have to secure your weapons. I'm pretty sure that's got to be, a part of it. You can't just even if you have an expansive mansion. I don't know if you could just be leaving guns around the property unsecure. I don't know, but that's a big gun. Like if you told me like if you said to me, hey, that's not a gun that you're allowed to have, or there's no permit that is available for a gun like that, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that checks out. That makes sense. That totally makes sense. That looks like way too big of a gun to have a permit for. But again, I don't know. Like maybe he does. But maybe that's like the kind of thing that it's like, hey, maybe there was a helicopter flying around his house and they spotted this thing, and maybe that's what prompted the investigation. I'm not entirely sure. Frank, I was just clicking through ABC's thing, and this is another photo that they put out of his hot tub, and look at the size of that gun leaning up against the hot tub.
That is a rifle with what looks like some sort of scope on it. What is this guy doing with these guns? I mean, if you're a hunter, that's one thing, but that's a lot of guns. I don't know if you need a shotgun to hunt. Yeah, you could have one to protect yourself, but how many AKs do you need to hunt?
Look, I don't want to say anything that's going to be offensive to people, but if you have a gun that size in a home this size next to a hot tub like that, wouldn't you think he'd have a better hammock? This is ridiculous. Look at this thing. It looks like it's scotch taped to those columns. That's absurd.
That looks like, man, that looks like, I don't know, like a bed sheet.
Yeah. What kind of hammock game you running over there, Jake Paul? You got $50,000 for a gun, but you can't go out and spend $300 on a decent fucking hammock? What the hell?
I don't know, man. He put all his money into guns and hot tubs. I don't know what to tell you.
So
some people like hammocks, some people like guns and hot tubs. But if it's enough, you can have your guns, but if it's enough that they're raiding your house, something's got to be up here. Maybe they're, like I was saying before I got cut off, maybe there's an amount you're allowed to have in California, and he's exceeding it. Maybe they saw something in a video of his that maybe a certain gun is not, what you're allowed to have. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking too. Like he was running around his house filming something, and somebody caught a glimpse of a gun, sent it into the authorities, and were like, "Look at the guns this guy has." And maybe they searched it out and didn't see a license for to carry that specific thing, and that's what spawned this.
Who knows?
At this point, at this point in the world with all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, I'm kind of hoping it's the gun issue and not the kitty porn issue. I mean,
Please let it be the gun issue, and then they just settle it up. Maybe he does some time, maybe not. I'm sure he won't. But maybe it'll be a fine, and I'll have to give up some guns, whatever it is.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
It would make sense that it was guns because, like we were kind of joking around with you, it wouldn't take that much to take down Jake Paul. But if you have evidence that he's got this much artillery around the house, you can't really take that chance. You can't really take the chance of like he'll go quietly or whatever. You can't put law enforcement's lives at risk like that, rolling into somebody's house when they've got a small artillery, when they've got enough weapons to, take down Canada if they need to. By the way, I don't want to take down Canada. I don't know why I keep using that as an example, but I feel like it's a good example. I feel like it's getting the point across. I just don't want to be like, Ant's a little obsessive with like trying to take over Canada. I love Canada. I'm grateful for the poutine and the hockey and all of it. I like the flag. They could have done a little bit better with the flag, but I've said this a lot. A lot of flags are kind of disappointing and underwhelming, to be totally honest with you. A lot of nations' flags are kind of a little bit on the disappointing side. I think we got you having a little trouble. Yeah.
My internet's collapsing all around me.
You need some tinfoil. Make like a little tinfoil helmet to, little rabbit ears.
This jar lid on my head.
There you go. That'll do it. Let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein. So last we left off with this saga. By the way, we're still waiting for this massive documents dump that was supposed to come on Monday, August 3rd. At the time of this podcast, it is Wednesday, August 5th. Still no document dump. Still no word on where that is or why that's even being delayed. The judge, nobody has said peep. Nothing has come out on anything, which has given more time to look into what came out last time, which we have a podcast about, which if you're watching on YouTube, we'll link in the cards. If you're listening on the podcast networks or you're watching on Facebook, go on over to our YouTube channel. You can find the link at anthonyunder.com and find it in the cards there. We'll link it up for you so it's nice and easy. It's in the, I never know where those things are, but it pops up.
I don't know.
They're looking into the old documents, and Ghislaine at one point, when Epstein got arrested in 2007, Ghislaine got upset because she's like, hey, they're linking me to you and they're calling me your girlfriend. And so at the time he was dating somebody else, and Ghislaine was like, can you at least put Shelly out there so that it doesn't appear that we were together, because she was trying to distance herself from him. And that's when he fired back that whole thing about like, go to parties, hold your head up high, you did nothing wrong, which is just like crazy to think about. Shelly, we thought originally was like a code word for a girl that he was dating. As it turns out, we just discovered that Shelly is actually a person. Her name is Shelly Lewis, and you'll never guess what she does for a living, Frank.
I'm gonna guess she doesn't run a charity.
No, she does not.
Okay.
She's a. Oh, go ahead. You got another guess?
No, I got nothing. Go ahead. What do you got?
She's a children's author. A children's author. Can you believe?
Come on.
Out of the only way this could have been worse was if she was a pediatrician. The next thing off of pediatrician was children's author. Like, you've got to be kidding me. This is like the kind of shit that you write into a movie because it all fits together so well. And you're like, of course she'd be like a children's book author.
But it's almost one of those things that if you suggested putting it in a movie, people would laugh at you and say that's too on the nose or that's too ridiculous.
Nobody will ever believe this. We can't put that in the movie. Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I know. That is so, that's so funny. It's so true. She's Shelly Ann Lewis. She's 43 now. So that would put her in 07, 13 years, around 30 years old. I believe she was dating him for quite a while. Again, we don't have timelines, but According to the New York Post, they put her at 22 when they started dating. So that gives it like a 7 or 8 year dating period together.
Right.
And this was, by the way, confirmed by her father this morning, according to the Daily Mail. Like, he was like, yeah, we had heard, because she's British. Shelley Ann Lewis is British. She's from England. So her dad, who's 71, was like, yeah, we knew she was dating somebody in New York. And I guess this kind of checks out. Makes sense, you know.
So, but okay, so Maxwell was from whenever to 07?
Well, from whenever
and
to
then Shelley from then on.
From whenever to whenever. So from whenever to whenever, but by the time 07 came around when he got arrested,
it was Shelley.
And this story started coming out, she was like, hey, you should say that Shelley's your girlfriend so they don't think that I'm your girlfriend, because that's what everybody is saying. In fact, they're still calling her his girlfriend or madam or whoever they refer to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I mean, she was.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's not, you know, yeah.
It's not a wrong thing to say. But so this...
Go ahead, say what you're going to say.
Sorry. Okay, so this Shelley person still around? Do they need to get her in custody of that? Is that what they're saying?
I don't know where she is. Oh, she's around. Obviously, all the papers reached out to her to get a comment. She did not want to comment, which is so hilarious to me. Like when they reach out to you for a comment and then you don't get it, and then the next day they've got dad on the, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you might as well just come forward because they're gonna get you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? A comment from your dad is not the same as a comment from you.
True, but here's the question now. This becomes like, what does she know? What has she been involved in? Was she one of the girls? Was she a recruiter? Was she this? Was she that? I don't recall, and it doesn't mean now. And again, with all of this stuff, just because we don't know it right now doesn't mean it didn't happen. You know, this can all come to light. You know what I mean? But I don't recall having watched the Netflix documentary anybody saying, oh, yeah, Shelley. You know, I don't remember. It could have happened. Maybe I'm forgetting, but I don't remember anybody pointing to anybody else outside of Ghislaine. But I feel like this is a whole different thing. Go ahead.
What did the documentary cover? What years? Like, did it end?
The whole thing.
Recent? The whole thing. Okay.
Start to finish, who he was, where he was born, to when he died. Not enough on how he died. That was the disappointing part about the documentary, which a lot of people just still don't know. You know, a lot of people, there's still a lot of questions to be asked. Like, I thought like the part of like, oh, he's dead now was going to be its own hour part. It was like maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's nothing. What could they say? I feel like we know as much as we're gonna know. Like we know as much as they know.
Yeah.
In terms of that.
So she wrote this. Shelley Ann Lewis wrote a best-selling children's book called A Key to the Heart, which garnered praise from the likes of First Lady Laura Bush and Harry Potter series author J.K. Rowling. So bringing in some more names into the mix of this whole thing. She is a self-titled spiritual entrepreneur. She was on Epstein's flight logs that showed her flying alone with him to New York and his private island, Little St. James, according to the Daily Mail. She's not been accused of any wrongdoing or tied to the allegations against Epstein. She could be of keen interest to prosecutors or lawyers for Epstein's accusers, sources are telling the UK paper. So this is the interesting thing. Like, is she involved? Does she know? Or is she totally on the outs, has no idea what this piece of garbage was doing? Is that even possible to not know? Like, you would say, and I could see it in the comments already, people would be like, that's crazy. Of course somebody would know if they were dating him. But how many times you hear the story of a woman comes, gets an email or finds out that a husband has not only a girlfriend but a whole family on the other side of town and had no idea.
Sometimes it's a secret life. People live their secret lives. Who knows? But yeah, it's I, uh, of course the stupid internet. So I'm thinking that she's not going to say anything, of course, until she needs a lawyer. That's, I guess, smart on her part, but that's what you do, I guess. But as all this unfolds, new names are going to come up, and there's not going to be comments until people have to comment.
She co-owns $1 million apartment with her sister in West London. The Daily Mail said she's not responding to the paper's request for comment. Her father, Brian, a retired millionaire businessman, told the paper he felt very sad for Epstein's victims and said, quote, "I have not seen my daughter for ages. I have no idea what she would want to say." That's what he told the Mail just a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's something. I mean, you haven't seen your daughter in forever. That's... Who knows? I don't know how good of a source he's going to be unless he knew her and talked to her during the time that they were dating. Who knows?
Yeah.
But if he hasn't been in touch with her in ages, how bit of a witness is he?
Her nickname is Chocolate Sauce.
No.
Yep. Creepy. She...
According to who? Like, who calls her
that? Well, this is just according to the documents that her nickname is Chocolate Sauce.
Oh, in the documents.
And she runs a spiritually oriented children's publishing house named after her nickname. So the publishing house that she runs, that she publishes children's books, is under the name Chocolate Sauce.
Okay.
Fucking creepy. Like, I mean, could you, like, it's just, I want to take a shower.
End.
No, it doesn't end.
It's got to stop at some point. And the creepiness has to just fall off a cliff and we're done with it.
She also runs Big Apple Meditation Center, a sacred space in New York, which aims to, quote, help New Yorkers unplug from the frenetic pace of the city and cultivate practices for inner peace, end quote.
Something tells me there's going to be a little dip in the
business is going to go down
after this.
Yeah, business is going to go down. But here's the thing. Okay, on the one hand, let's play devil's advocate. Let's pretend like she didn't know, she got played.
Possible, I guess.
Entirely possible, right? She's just trying to help people be, find their inner peace. On the other hand, which is probably the hand I'm more leaning towards, she maybe suspected something at some point. I don't know if she was involved. I don't want to assume that, but here's my point. Your average Joe and Jane don't go into these spiritual places to lay out all sorts of crazy money to find inner peace in Manhattan. Like, that type of a business is an elite, wealthy, like, that's who your clientele is. You don't have Joe the construction worker, you have Eric the financial planner,
Right.
Somebody named Eric who's a final.
He's in there 2-3 times a week, buying crystals and lotions and things.
Somebody who's named Eric, who's a financial planner, is listening or watching this right now going, oh shit, don't drag me into this.
Yeah, that guy owns a tie rack.
We're watching you, Eric. That's the point.
You beat me to it. The internet, damn it. It's so slow.
You know what I mean? So like that so if we're you want to, you don't want to just be like, oh, that one's guilty or that one's guilty, that one's guilty, that one's guilty. Again, like, we have our own radar. We have our own feelings on it. We have our own public opinion of, I think that person definitely did something wrong, and maybe that person maybe didn't. But they're going to have to prove all this stuff in a court of law, which is the reason why we are objective about most of these things, is because these lawyers are going to have to put a case together and actually get convictions and actually nail people down. My little thing is with this radar, my radar goes off when I see that, because it's like, this is a highfalutin business, and this is the world that this guy Epstein operated in. Now, again, that doesn't make her a bad person. Like, if they investigate everything and they find out she's been cleared of it, okay, I wouldn't fight it. But I think that part of it kind of gives us a little peek inside of, like, there's no way on earth she could possibly be 100% scot-free, is my feeling on it.
It's possible. I mean, you look at people like, I don't know, take like a Jared, you know, he went away and nobody associated with him went away. So people do things on their own, but that was not as big a case as the Epstein thing, of course. But it's possible that not everybody who interacted with Epstein is guilty of this. I mean, I'm sure he went to all sorts of parties and he interacted with thousands of people that knew nothing about this.
Yeah.
And that's of course a possibility. If he went to someone else's parties, who knows? People could say they know him. It's always, they always say, "Oh, he was such a good person," and who knows behind the scenes. So,
well, that was my point. That was my point with Clinton in the last episode, which is, again, not a defense, but I'm just saying, if they're really going to nail Prince Andrew, Clinton, you gotta have that, like, corroborated evidence that, like, not only the person accusing him saying, but a way to kind of nail it down, whether it's, I don't know, DNA, photo evidence, I don't know what it is. Somebody saying, "Yep, I absolutely saw them. I was in the room." Whatever it is, you gotta have that in order to get, like, that's what we're all looking for. And we haven't seen any of that come to light yet. And you think you would, but maybe it doesn't. But you hope that is in the treasure trove of evidence and information somewhere at some point. Because like you were saying, Frank, just because he was in the plane 27 times ain't going to cut it. It's good enough for you and I to be like, that guy did something wrong.
It certainly seems like you would know, but how do you know?
In a court of law, they got to have more to...
they got to prove it.
To nail that stuff down.
Reasonable doubt is the thing they got to get past. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
There's some doubt concerning these things, unless they find, big evidence. Who knows?
Yeah. Aren't you, like, dying for it?
Yeah.
I thought for sure we were going to have these documents on Monday, and it is Wednesday. We still don't have anything. And I'm like, now what? What is going wrong? Like, what is happening?
I mean, how much of this stuff in an ongoing... I mean, I guess the investigation is over, right?
I don't think so, because
it's an ongoing case. Like, there's a trial that's going to happen. There's people that are being held because of this. The investigation is still ongoing.
I mean, it's weird because, look, he's dead. So I don't know if do they reopen the investigation on him now that they have her?
I mean, but he's dead, but it doesn't mean that there are other players in this. Just because he's gone doesn't mean that further investigation won't reveal other players and the whole Maxwell thing and now this new person. Do they know all this and they're just spoon feeding it to the public? And let's say they have 100% of the picture. Are they giving us a little drips and drabs here and there?
Yeah, I don't know, because that's the other part of it too. Like we had talked about, what do they have versus what do they don't have? And what are they releasing versus what are they not releasing? And who's controlling that? Because
because if they can't release everything if they're building stuff toward other people. You know what I mean? If they're trying to hook in or they're trying to catch people that they don't have yet, they can't reveal everything.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's the thing maybe with this Shelley Ann Lewis, like maybe that's why we haven't heard her name or she's been prominently, identified, because they were trying to get to her before, the public could. But the judge is the one who decides what comes out and what doesn't. And, I don't think she would jeopardize a case or an investigation just to put something out. On the other hand, given the nature of what this is and what happened to Jeffrey Epstein, I think that's the purpose of putting some of this stuff out, so that it's out in the open and undeniable. You know what I mean? You get it out to the people. so that you can't hide it in the shadows like a lot of this case has been, doing, So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, but it's not easy because, yeah, we want to know everything, but if they're still investigating it, I'm sure there are deadlines too. They're like they have to have
I don't
this
know.
amount of evidence. I don't know. I mean,
I
right?
don't know if
Because
there are.
is there a trial date yet?
I think next year is what they were hoping. Again, this is all. This is not the
So
judge's
take that time.
only trial. This is not the lawyer's only trial. You get like 7 lawyers involved, which a lot of these guys do.
Yeah.
All of them have to clear their calendar, check their calendar out. There's just a lot. There's a lot to it. This story about how mystery seeds have been showing up in people's shipments and showing up on people's doorsteps, and they've been.
What is that all about?
Just people, people have been saying like I got a package and then there was a bunch of seeds in it and it was labeled from China and there was Chinese writing on it and all this kinds of stuff, and it's grown enough to a point where people are like, hey, don't plant these seeds, don't plant any seeds of anything that you don't know what it is, especially in this era, seeds coming from other places. Well, one dude in Arkansas planted the seeds.
Oh God! Did he grow like a Little Shop of Horrors plant or something?
Like, this is the beginning of the movie. Like, everybody's like, don't do this, and there's friggin' Hank in Arkansas. And be like, I don't know, I was curious. Let's see what we got here.
Give it a shot. Oh God, what did it grow into?
So it doesn't look too horrific, but how the hell do we know?
Got these strange seeds in the mail 2 months ago. He says curiosity took over and he planted them.
Not every 2 weeks I'd come by and put Miracle Grow on. And they just start growing crazy.
Experts are unsure what this plant really is, but the concern is it turning out to be an invasive species, which could hurt local agriculture.
Our concerns from an invasive pest aspect. So these seeds could introduce an invasive weed or an invasive insect pest or a plant disease.
The plant has a large white fruit and orange flowers, much resembling a squash plant.
And it said on China, and it said studded earrings on the outside package. I thought that was a little odd.
The Department of Agriculture is removing the plant on Crenshaw's property.
Fucking Hank. You believe this guy?
All right.
It said
Here's
studded
my question.
earrings, so I planted it to see if I would get studded earrings.
Just to head water. Now, I can't imagine that. I mean, I feel like we, as a species, we don't know every animal and plant that's on this earth. It's like there's still some earth to discover and stuff like that. But I have to imagine that there's got to be someone that knows what this plant is that's friendly to us.
I don't know. Here's a look behind the reporter. You can kind of see the seeds right there. They look like cantaloupe seeds, to be honest with you.
Yeah, pumpkin seeds or something.
Or like a pumpkin seed. Yeah.
I mean, we don't need this right now. We've got a lot.
That's what I'm saying. We don't
dealing
need
with way too much.
Fucking Hank in Arkansas be like, I don't know. I thought I'd see what, thought maybe we'd see if we get earrings or not. No, like.
It's going to be invasion of the body snatchers. This is how it begins, folks. You just plant something, and then all of a sudden we're taken over by pods, and it's 2020, and this year is just never going to end. We're only into August.
You saw that white squash thing. Now, there'll be somebody out there on the internet that'll be like, this guy doesn't know what what an idiot. How could he not? Bro, I've never seen that fucking thing in a supermarket, okay? And if it ain't in a supermarket nationally, like it's a weird thing. And it shouldn't have been planted in the first place. I'm sorry.
And yes, there are vegetables and stuff that they grow in other countries that we wouldn't recognize. And this looks like one of those.
Yeah.
But I feel like even so, there should be people here that immediately know what that is. There are science teachers, biologists, botanists. There should be someone that goes, wait a minute, let me go to my book, and it's this.
Right.
Why haven't we done that?
It hasn't come to light yet. Yeah. It could be perfectly normal, a normal fruit from some other country, like you were saying. But the point is now's not the time to roll the dice
Because then it's going to be a beanstalk. There's going to be giants now. I can't be dealing with giants.
It's 2020. We're living in Jumanji. Anything is possible. Stop planting weird shit you don't know what it is.
I mean, you know what though? What the hell? What do we got to lose?
See, now you're thinking like Hank, which is how. This is why we're gonna wipe ourselves out.
No, I wouldn't plant something I don't recognize.
Every great civilization, like they're like, we don't know. They were running everything. We don't know what happened. Some Hank fucking planted some shit that they weren't supposed to, and that's what happened.
That's what happened to the Mayans or something. They planted something.
Yeah.
It took over, and that's it. You know what's weird? You mentioned weird growing plant things. I don't know if you know, but I have, out of nowhere, in my front yard, corn growing in my front yard. I didn't plant it.
I saw the pictures. Now, what was that plant though? Did you planted the plant?
No, in the front there were every year tulips would come up literally from the previous owner. They're just still down there, and we would get tulips. I see.
And so you bought the house. So you bought the house. There was plants up there. Every now and then, every year the tulip would come up. You didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden, now how long have you owned your house for? How many years?
10 years.
All of a sudden, after 10 years, now you're getting corn.
This is what we have now in our front yard.
Right.
I don't know what to make of that. It's like, this is an old picture. This is about a week old. Right now, hold on. Right now we have 3 corn husks growing out of this thing. So it's sprouting corn. Now the best guess, my brother, who is kind of into plants and stuff like that, and
nerd, he's a loser.
Maybe he could tell us what this friggin' seeds are. But he said most likely an animal maybe ate some corn and then defecated in that spot, and it sprouted something there. But
that's twisted.
That's his best guess.
That makes sense in an odd way. Yeah, that makes sense.
We certainly didn't plant corn there.
Now, did he say that to you in English, or did he say that to you in BB-8 beeping and you understood? Because you're both nerds.
It was Klingon, and no, actually, that's Star Trek. I'm not going to cross the worlds.
I was going to say, I had enough respect not to do a Klingon, a Star Trek reference. I kept it in the Star Wars land. I thought that was respectful on my part.
That was good. You did right. No, you did right.
Yeah, this is the picture that your wife sent to me. You can see
there's the corn shooting up. Yep. That's it. We have corn in our front yard, and I am going to eat that corn, and it's going to be delicious, and I'll let you know how it is.
That's kind of weird.
Squirrels don't get to it first.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat it. I definitely wouldn't eat it. That's kind of weird.
You wouldn't eat it? Why not?
After 10 years, you just randomly got corn popping up in your front yard. That's
what could
bizarre.
be wrong with it?
What seed did you plant that sprouted that thing behind you? What is that? Do you want to elaborate as we wrap up the podcast here?
This thing here?
Yeah, what is that?
This is one of those umbrella strollers.
Yeah.
And we bought that for my dog, Bridie.
Mm-hmm.
And when we take her on long walks, it's kind of hot out. And again, she's not in the best of health at the moment. So if we take it with us on long walks, and when she gets tired, we put her in it.
Now,
and actually,
how excited were you when it showed up in a large box that it wasn't this big? How thrilled were you?
You know, I have to say, I was a little happy. That we got way before I even knew that there was a big scam going on with the
pools,
with these things. Yeah.
If you want to know what we're talking about, we'll link that podcast as well. We'll go back a little bit. Frank bought a pool for his dog, and it looked like it was a huge pool for him and his dog. It was like this big. Go ahead.
It was a lasagna tray. So here it is.
It was a lasagna tray.
Here's Bridie.
Oh, there she is.
Enjoying her carriage.
She likes it?
She loves it. Yeah, we take her on walks. And she gets tired after a while. She wants to stop and lay down.
Yeah.
So we just put her in the carriage. We take her home.
Now, is that made specifically for dogs, or you just bought like an umbrella stroller and she's
no regular stroller?
Okay.
Nothing. It's not. I don't remember. I think we got it from like Disney. It's got like Winnie the Pooh on it or something. But she loves it. So we take it on walks with her.
Is she a big Winnie the Pooh fan, or you're just like, this one was the cheapest one?
She is now.
She's loving.
And I think it was the cheapest, but it's
She's loving that piglet.
It serves the purpose. We didn't need any huge thing with like snack trays and stuff. So this does the job.
Oh, good. So she likes it. So do you start her off on a regular walk and then throw her in there, or are you just taking her out?
We do.
Yeah.
And every now and then it's funny. She's in the stroller, and then when she has to, like, if we're on the way home, she has to do some business, she jumps out of the stroller. Like, she wants to get out, so she kind of wiggles her way out of the stroller and does her business, and we put her back in. But my favorite part is walking with her in it and like freaking people out who think they're going to turn and see a baby. And they see a dog, like, oh, how cute. It goes immediately from shock to, oh my God, how adorable.
How's that been happening?
A couple times. It happened like twice. People, I see, the funniest is when you see faces of people in cars as they go by. They go, oh. So it's a potpourri of emotions that go through it within like 3 seconds. It's amazing.
Oh, shit. All right. That's good. All right. Well, I'm good. I'm glad Bridie likes her new mode of transportation. We all wind up in a stroller, I feel like, no matter what it is. Like, we're all destined to be wheeled around and pushed around at some point in our lives. So.
Who doesn't want to be put? If I could have someone push me around town,
basically,
that's the dream. Not having any kind of disability, but just being pushed around is a wonderful thing.
Be the greatest thing ever. And if we're fortunate enough to have Christopher Robin on the thing, even better.
It's a bonus right there.
The best ever. All right, my man. We'll leave it there. Fun episode. We'll still look for next episode. We're on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. We'll see if we get a Ghislaine Maxwell thing. If not, we do have quite an interesting podcast topic that came up in our group text that Liz sent this morning, which is like, I can't believe we had enough stuff get in the way of that pushed that off to another episode, which is shocking to me.
That is a major topic that we need to discuss. That is happening.
Yeah, it looks like the biggest clickety clickbait you've ever seen, but I haven't found anything that it was false just yet. So we'll do that on the next episode. All our links for everything is up at anthonyonair.com. Whether you listen to the podcast on one of the networks, know that you could also watch on Facebook or YouTube. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, know that you can listen on any of the podcast networks. Again, anthonyonair.com has all that information. That's Frankie C. It's your old pal Ant, and we'll see you on the next episode.